Can and J-Man Show Nation. We are back with another episode on this beautiful October 3rd day. How you doing tonight, T-Dog?
Not too bad. Like you said, you can't beat this weather for October.
You really can. It's set, I think, 70 degrees here right now. It's perfect.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be decently warm for majority of the week, and then towards the tail end, the weekend, supposed to get back into the chilly fall temps. But we'll take the warmer weather while it's here.
Absolutely. Do you have some birdie bogey for me tonight?
I do. It's actually on my phone. Let me get it up here. It's baseball.
Beautiful.
You are ahead by 3 strokes, by the way, so let's see if you can get it by 4. That'd be a pretty commanding lead.
There's not many weeks left in the year.
No, there's really not, are there? I might be in big trouble. All right, so since 1955, when they first began awarding an MVP, there have been 3 players in the history of in the MLB to be named the MVP of a World Series twice.
Oh,
Can you name
man.
those 3?
No.
You say that every week. No.
Birdie Bogey brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC for fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Mentone, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com, to get your veggies.
Yes, get your veggies indeed. Like we said last week, it's chili season, it's soup season. Got to have vegetables going to super chili, most likely. So
That's right.
get your veggies from Noble Gnome and go check them out online, noblegnomellc.com.
Get your veggies. Speaking of baseball, you want to start
Exactly
with baseball?
That's exactly what I was going to say. You're reading my mind tonight, which is a scary place.
That is
place
scary.
to be up there. But I got to start off with 2 of my bold predictions for the year have come true, baseball related. The Mariners making the playoffs for the first time since 2001.
Yeah.
The White Sox not making the playoffs.
Yeah. White Sox are one of the more disappointing teams of recent memory. I mean, they're sitting here 11 games behind the Cleveland Guardians. Got that right. 1 game under 500. Tony La Russa is not coming back next year. He's been out for about a month now with some medical issues, they're calling it. 79 years old, though. Hire was a disaster. Looked terrible on paper to begin with, and it has turned out to be pretty horrendous hire by Jerry Reinsdorf. But, yeah, 11 games out. Mariners, did you see how they clinched a wild card spot? That was awesome.
Yes, it was. I'm good for them. Good for that city. Now, if they just brought the Sonics back, everything would be right in that city.
Yep. And it looks like, I don't know. I still am kind of confused on how the playoff format's going to look with 3 wildcard teams. Of course, I haven't been all that interested in it since my team's been out for a while, but I know the Mariners have a 1.5 game lead on the Tampa Bay Rays. Every spot in the American League has been clinched as far as wild card goes, and I think division goes as well. So not a whole lot to play for there.
I think I had it on my phone last night. Let me see if I can pull it up here.
National League still a little wide open. The New York Mets had a 10.5 game lead in June, and now they are 2 games back with 3 games to play. They are folding down the stretch. Jacob deGrom's look bad, believe it or not. Max Scherzer hasn't been good. They're not hitting the ball to the ballpark anymore. And the Braves have just gone absolutely scorched earth on the rest of the league. They have 100 wins now. They have the 2nd best record in the National League after starting the first 2 or 3 months, just kind of in that World Series hangover a little bit from last year.
So here is loyal Tan and J-Man Show viewer and listener Sean Shriver sent my dad and I this last night. Is the postseason update. The buys in the American League are going to be Houston's going to be the 1 seed. Yankees are going to be the 2 seed. And then wild card matchups, home advantages in all caps. Tampa versus Cleveland in all caps. Seattle versus Toronto, all caps.
Seattle versus Toronto. So I don't even know if the Mariners can host a playoff game at all.
Unless they do some winning.
I guess they could play Tampa Bay, and they'd host Tampa Bay, but it's not looking likely, unfortunately.
Then the
but I mean, if they get out of the wild card round, I assume they could. I still don't understand how it works.
American League Dodgers have the 1 seed, Cardinals are the 3 seed, and the Padres are the 5 seed. So the last wild card, the Phillies have a 2-game lead over the Brewers with 3 games left. Phillies are at Houston for 3 games while Milwaukee hosts Arizona. even though the Phillies have tougher opponent, they should clinch, according to Sean.
Should clinch.
In the East winner, both the Mets and Braves are in the playoffs. The division winner gets the bye, and the other one gets the 4 seed. The Braves have a 1-game lead. They're playing right now on Sunday Night Baseball, which I think the Braves won.
They did.
So they have a 2-game lead. The Mets host the Nationals for 3, while the Braves are at Miami. So it'll be byes. Dodgers 1, Atlanta or Mets will be the 2 seed. Wild card matchup: Philadelphia or Milwaukee versus St. Louis at St. Louis, and San Diego at either Atlanta or New York.
Yeah, the Brewers have kind of choked down the stretch. They had late leads against the Marlins twice over the weekend in a 4-game set, and they blew 2 of them and ended up losing both of those games, or they would probably be tied with the Phillies right now. If they would have just won, they would have been tied with the Phillies right now. So they kind of limped to the finish line. Phillies do have, I think they have Houston to end the year in Houston, so that's going to be tough, and the Brewers have, I think, Arizona, if I'm not mistaken. But Phillies haven't been to the playoffs. I mean, they had that unbelievable run from about 2006 to, 2011 or so, and they have not been to the playoffs since. Since 2011 was their last year in the playoffs.
All right, is that the longest drought now in MLB? Now that Seattle's clinched a playoff spot?
It has to be. The Marlins made it in 2020 in that sham year. Arizona's made it more recently. Colorado in 2018. Reds made it in the sham 2020 year. Pirates made it in 2014, I believe. No, 2015, because Cubs beat them.
White Sox recently made it.
White Sox made it the past 2 seasons.
Yeah, before that, wasn't it like 2008 or something for them?
Yeah. Baltimore made it in 2016. Obviously, Red Sox have been there. Twins have been there more recently. Tigers played in the World Series in 2012. Royals won a World Series in 2015. Angels 2012. Rangers, yep, it would be the longest drought in Major League Baseball. They're such a proud franchise, too.
Mm-hmm.
But they're probably going to make it. Fired Joe Girardi 51 games into the season. Rob Thompson's taken over, and he's 64-44. They're still, Cubs swept them in a 3-game series. Cubs are playing really good baseball right now, but
they played pretty decent the second half of the season, really.
Yeah, they are 7. They're 7 games over 500 in the second half. I'm glad you brought that up because I actually favorited something here on my Twitter.
New Twitter segment.
Yes.
J-Man's Twitter likes, because it's a like, isn't it? Now instead of a favorite, now it's a like.
I still call them favorites. I think it's been a like for like 5 years now. I still call them favorites. Second half records. This was through September 27th, and the Cubs have not lost since then. So that's what? 28th, 29th, 30th. October 1st, October 2nd. So that's 5. They're 38-29 in the second half, which is a better record than the Brewers, Yankees, White Sox. A lot of teams, actually. They've won, I think 39 of their last 68 games. Played some pretty good baseball in the second half. They're pitching really well in the second half as well. Post-deadline, they have a 3.58 ERA, which is 9th in Major League Baseball. The bullpens pitched well even after trading their top 4 guys. So, in their starters, second half ERA is down to 2.95. So hopefully they can carry some of this momentum over, sign a really good starting pitcher. Obviously, you need some offensive help, but hopefully they can carry this momentum into next year. Of course, that doesn't always happen, but they played some good baseball, even though I was rooting for them to tank the entire second half. And they find themselves 13 games up on the Reds and the Pirates, where just a month ago I think they were battling it out for
the Pirates
3rd through 5th place. Yeah, Reds have 99 losses. So do the Pirates. But, 3 games left of the season. Aaron Judge tied Roger Maris's American League record.
I don't think he gets it.
This will be the J-Man's Book of Prediction of the week. Got to get out of the way early because I almost forgot the past couple weeks. Who do the Yankees have?
Oh, Lord, you would ask me that. I should know this. I'll look it up. I should know
I'm looking it up right now. They have
somebody in division, right?
No, they actually have 4 games left. They have a doubleheader on Tuesday. They play the Texas Rangers for 4. through Wednesday. So this will be the J-Man's book prediction of the week. Aaron Judge has really struggled here since he got to 60. They've been showing his at bats in the middle of college football games.
Oh, college football
ESPN.
Fans don't like that.
College football fans do not like that at all. They've watched him strike out a bunch too. If I saw a tweet, it was something like, if you knew nothing about baseball and you had to watch Aaron Judge's at bats during the college football games, you would think he's the worst player in the history of baseball. He's been so bad, but I think he gets it. And then probably once he gets it, they won't play him the rest of the series, I'd imagine, unless he gets it the first game. But they will play, it looks like, penciled in October 11th, next Tuesday. So they have the entire weekend. Now they'll have almost an entire week off before they play again. So yeah, he'll probably play the entire series regardless, but I think he gets it. He gets 62, maybe even more.
I hope you're
maybe
right,
even
but
more.
I don't know. I just feel like he's already got there, and now he's, like you say, he's cold. But as weird as it sounds, I'd rather him heat up for the postseason. So.
Right. Yeah, who cares about that record, to be honest? I mean, he tied it.
I bet he's pretty glad he bet on himself.
Yeah, he's going to get paid a lot more than he probably would have. He would have got paid a lot anyway.
He would,
to begin with. But this probably puts him over the top, and I actually don't think he'll be back with the Yankees either. I think he'll end up maybe on the other side of New York and Queens, or maybe San Francisco, something like that.
I think the Yankees are going to try to give him a dollar figure he cannot refuse, but we'll see.
Yeah. He went to Fresno State. I think he's from the Pacific, or he's from the Northern California. So maybe San Francisco would be able to. But I mean that new Mets owner kind of makes it scary for everyone else because he could give him a $700 million deal or something like that, and you won't be able to say no to that.
That's true. And I got to say this: why Fresno State's on my mind, or it's going to bug me. You see, Fresno State lost to UConn in football over the weekend.
Did they really? Who's their coach? Is it still the former? Wasn't an IU guy there?
It's not DeBoer. DeBoer's at Washington.
Oh, that's right.
Doing real well. So, no, I don't know who the coach is, but whoever it is, that's a bad loss.
That's a fireable offense. It could be your first game ever coaching at the D1 level, head coach, and you should be fired for that. Yeah. But J-Man's Book of Prediction of the Week brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance Agent Travis Watchering for life, home, auto, business, renters, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watchering@infb.com. I actually have a baseball word association as well.
Let's do it.
So I have the Major League home run leaders over the past however many years. There is some repeats, so I skipped over those and just added the next guy. But starting with Vladdy Jr.
Oh, Vladdy Jr. How can you not see him and see his dad?
Yeah.
I mean, resemblance. I mean, of course that is his dad, but no batting gloves. Swings hard.
Their body types are a little different.
Yeah, a little different. A little different. He's got some muscles. Dad had more muscles. He's got a little more flubber on him, I should say. But it's cool seeing him playing in Toronto. You know, his dad was a legend for the Expos for many years, so it's cool seeing that Canadian resemblance there. But yeah, it's cool to have a player that was really good when we were growing up. Offspring be really good,
right?
As we're getting older. So.
Yep. The Blue Jays team has quite a few of them too.
Yeah, Bichette and
Kevin Biggio's on that team as well. Yep. This guy actually tied Vladdy last year. Salvador Perez.
I couldn't have told you he tied him.
48.
Yeah, he's a Royal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the reason I have to ask because I just don't think of a Royal doing anything that's leading the league since at least they won the World Series. That's a franchise that talk about just back to where they were in the years we were growing up. I mean, they went from awful to champions to back to pretty awful. But
quickly, too.
Yeah, quickly. But Kansas City has enough success and attention in football. They don't need two teams doing well.
That's fair. Pete Alonso.
Oh, man, he could smash the ball. I mean, he made an impact his rookie year.
That was his rookie year when he did it 53.
Yeah. His rookie year. He's made the home run derby kind of his thing the last couple of years. Of course, I don't like him because he's a Met, but
I don't like him just because he seems unlikable.
He does kind of seem like a jerk too. But no, it's when the Mets are good, it's good for baseball. Honestly, even though I don't like the Mets.
I hate the Mets. I hate the Mets. Chris Davis with a K. Khris.
So that's not Crash then.
That is not Crash.
Crash was the Oriole. This is the A.
Yep.
The Athletic. Yeah. Yeah. See, it's amazing to me. Like we're naming all these guys who didn't play on good teams when they were doing this, and that's it might be a coincidence. Blue Jays are fine, and Mets are good now, but Royals stink. A's, they've had good years, but they've never really been a championship contender.
No.
They should have been with Zito, Mulder, and Hudson, but
they've always had that low payroll, the money ball sort of deal. But and there's a couple guys on there that I couldn't believe led the league in homers. Chris Davis, I knew he had a couple years where he hit over 40. He had like a stretch. I think it was a 3-year stretch where he hit exactly 247. Each of those, I think it was 3 years, which is kind of a weird coincidence. And he hit over 40 homers each year. So he was a low on base, but hit a lot of homers for the A's.
But whoever the A's best player is the most recognizable sports figure in Oakland because they don't have any other teams.
They have no one else.
Everybody moves out.
You know what's pathetic is the Oakland A's have $0 committed to their 2023 payroll right now.
Jeez, that is bad.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
They need to move to Vegas as well.
Go to Vegas. Yeah, just get out. Yep. Everybody else is leaving.
Giancarlo Stanton.
Hits baseball hard.
When he's healthy.
Yeah, when he's healthy. Which he's, I don't want to say rarely healthy, but he gets hurt every single year for a good amount of time. But fun player to watch. Striking figure over the plate. Mm-hmm. Just have him DH for the rest of his career.
Yeah, he's definitely not an outfielder at this
Once
point.
known as Mike Stanton.
Yep. Did you know he was a defensive back commit to USC?
I did not. I had a feeling once you said defensive back, I'm like, it's probably USC. And you said USC, so I did not know that, though. No.
This is a guy that I was surprised led the major leagues in homers one year, and that was Mark Trumbo.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I think he had 48.
Was he on the Angels then?
He was with the Orioles then.
Orioles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Orioles have a couple guys on this list.
It must have been something about Camden Yards.
Yeah. Well, that was before they moved the fence back, and it was really easy to hit one out to left, so that could have something to do with it.
Yeah. Yeah, another team that hasn't really been very good for a long time. And
they are over 500 for the first time.
They are, that's true. Then they got the baby birds prospects that we talked about.
2016, I think, was the last time. So maybe they'll be better next year. Who knows? Yeah. Chris Davis. This one is Crash Davis.
Yeah, he had some good pop, and then he went downhill fast. Awful. Couldn't even hit the ball. So I think some PEDs were involved there.
That has been rumored for a while. I don't know. He was a pretty strong guy to begin with, but he fell off the map, though. I think he had a stretch where he went like 0 for 59 or something to start a season. That was about the end of him.
It's not ideal.
That's not ideal. Another Oriole here. They did I think he was an Oriole at the time. Nelson Cruz.
Oh, he's still going. And what is he, like 40 now?
Yeah, he's 40, 41, I think.
Cool story when he came up with the Rangers, and he's been productive everywhere he's been. He's part of the 400 home run club.
Yeah, he was like a 28-year-old rookie.
Yeah, which was kind of unheard of back then when he did it. Still rare, but especially back then. He's been a productive player everywhere he's gone. He's like, okay, he's got to tamper off now that he's 40. Well, look at stats. Okay, he's still produced. Yeah.
Future Hall of Famer Miguel Cabrera.
Yeah, doesn't get talked about enough. We've said that time and time again on the podcast. I don't know if it's because he played in Miami when he was a youngster or Florida back then, and in Detroit where he's just kind of been lost in the mix. They've had some good teams, but boy, I whiffed on that AL Central pick this year, really bad.
I think I had him being pretty
really
good,
bad. But no, he's one of the best players of our lifetime.
Yep, he played in some two really small markets too. Mm-hmm. Jose Bautista.
Joey Bats. I just remember him for the bat flip in the playoffs or the play-in game or whatever that was.
Getting punched by Odor.
And getting punched. And he follows everybody on Twitter. I remember that was like the first big athlete to follow me back on Twitter because he obviously didn't run his own account. Obviously somebody ran it for him. So.
Newest member of the 700 home run club, Albert Pujols.
The machine. As a person who's not a Cub fan, I always liked the guy. I always thought he played the right way. Seemed like a humble guy. I remember when he went to the Angels, everybody thought he was going to the Marlins. And then all of a sudden, I remember watching SportsCenter that day and like breaking news, he was signing with the Angels. Like, what? Where did they come from? Like, I think everybody thought he was going to the Marlins. And I don't know. His Angels years were kind of forgettable to me, even though I'm sure he had good seasons. But I always get looked to him as a Cardinal.
Yeah, I remember Pujols and Prince Fielder were both free agents at the same time. Cubs needed a first baseman, and they wanted to go hard after both of them. Didn't land either of them, and then trade for Anthony Rizzo. I think it turned out better for the Cubs than it did if they would have signed one of those guys.
Funny how that works out sometimes.
Yep. Ryan Howard.
Oh, a name I haven't thought of in a while.
The big piece.
I've shared this story on the podcast, but I like sharing it anyways. I just remember sitting up in the loft at our buddy Andrew Eiler's house, and the Reds blew like a 5 or 6 run lead in the ninth, and Howard hits a walk-off. He throws the TV remote, smacks me in the shin. Thanks, Andrew.
You had it coming.
He was a fun player to watch for a good stretch.
He was. Alex Rodriguez.
I always liked A-Rod, but I don't respect him for what he did. I mean, he cheated, and he didn't need to cheat. That was the thing. He was a talented baseball player without the PEDs. He had already proved that in his Seattle days. But big money, the first big money deal we had seen in our lifetime. Part of that trade, Alfonso Soriano, some other guys in Texas for him. He got a World Series ring. Still kind of weird to think he had to play third base looking back on it. But
yeah. I wonder if his thinking when he took PEDs was, Bonds is taking them clearly. Sosa's taking them. A couple other guys are taking them. I might just need to take them to kind of keep up.
You're probably right.
Not a good enough excuse, but at least he can justify it in his own mind for doing it.
Right. But, I don't know. He's always in the news for something, whether it's personal life or being a baseball analyst and commentator. He's always still in the tabloids.
He might be like the last super famous Major League Baseball player, because baseball players, it seems like, don't get famous anymore where like E-News is following them around.
That's
where it
true.
Seems like A-Rod, Jeter, those kind of guys, they were dating supermodels and all of that. You just don't see that anymore for whatever reason.
I would say Aaron Judge is probably the closest thing, just because he's a superstar in the New York market, but he's not in the tabloids.
Helps.
He's not in the tabloids.
Right. The market definitely helps, for sure. Andrew Jones.
This isn't the Braves Andrew Jones.
It is the Braves Andrew Jones.
He led the league in home runs.
He hit 53 in 2005.
No wonder why you're always on the case for getting him in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, he hit over 400 homers in his career, one of the greatest defensive center fielders ever. He should be in.
Yeah. You should be the guy that's bargaining for him to get in. Do they do that like the NFL does?
They should. I'm not the only one though that's doing that.
I know.
I think he'll get in eventually. But
he was a good one. I mean, he's part of those Braves teams that were always good when we were growing up with Chipper. Yep. They're good pitching rotations. Maddox, Smoltz, Glavine. They won tons of AL or NL East divisions in a row. I mean, it was like unheard of the year they finally didn't win it. So.
Yeah. Last one here, Adrian Beltre.
He got popped for PEDs, right?
I don't think so.
Did he not?
No, it was when he was with the Dodgers. His last year with the Dodgers, he hit 48 homers. Then he went to Seattle and just struggled. And then went to Boston, rejuvenated his career, and now he's going to be a Hall of Famer.
I remember when he was on Seattle, I believe. He was the first player I could remember to hit a home run off his knee.
Yeah.
He had a low ball, went down on one knee, and hit it out of the park. I'm like, oh, my gosh. Like, what a feat of strength. But he was the first guy Pujols hugged or acknowledged when he crossed the plate hitting his 700th home run. Beltre was in the crowd.
Oh, that's right.
Went over and hugged him.
Yeah.
So Dominican Republic connection there. So
yep.
He was a good one for many years, but like I said, struggled a little bit in Seattle, which was kind of a common theme with a lot of free agents for some reason. If they go to Seattle, they tend to struggle. I don't know why.
Yeah. I think a lot of people will remember Beltre mainly with his Ranger days.
Yep.
The Texas Rangers. So
should have been World Series champs.
Definitely should have, because they had Nelson Cruz in right field, and he should have been DH. Well, he couldn't have been DHing because he was in St. Louis.
Drop the pop-up.
Yeah, he pretty easy. I mean, it wasn't an easy play, but a play a majority of Major League right fielders make with ease, and he made it look
right.
Very difficult. Right. But that will do it for word association.
Well, that was a fun list. Some good names I hadn't thought of or talked about in a long time. And word association segment is brought to you by, like it is every week, Proforma Print 2 Promo Group. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print 2 Promo Group has over 50 years combined experience in promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company by giving them a call today at 574-210-3815.
What do you want to talk about now?
Well, why don't we do the On This Day real quick, which I need to bring up here, and then we will hop into football talk for the rest of the pod. Let me get it up here. Should have had this ready. You know, it's not my first rodeo here, and here I am. But on this day, sporting events that have happened on October 3rd. A lot of old stuff in the 1920s. I'm not going to... Oh, man. On this day, 1942, Triple Crown winner Whirl Away, ridden by George Wolfe, won the Jockey Club Gold Cup at Belmont Park to become the first thoroughbred to earn more than $500,000 in lifetime earnings.
Wow, that was a lot of money back then.
That is a lot of money. On this day, 1945, the Tigers and the Cubs met in the World Series for the fourth time. Hank Barroway pitched a 6-hit shutout as the Cubs won Game 1 9-0 at Briggs Stadium in Detroit. And then Detroit won the series 4-3.
That was the Cubs' last trip to the World Series up until 2016.
On this day, 1951, the shot heard around the world happened. Bobby Thompson had a 3-run homer off Ralph Branca of the Brooklyn Dodgers, bombing the ninth, one out to give the New York Giants a dramatic 5-4 playoff win in the NL pennant at the Polo Grounds. The Giants win the pennant. A lot of baseball stuff. On this day, 1965, Whitey Ford notched win number 232 in a season-ending 11-5 victory against the Boston Red Sox, becoming the Yankees' winningest pitcher.
Hall of Famer.
Yep. On this day, 1972, future Baseball Hall of Famer left-handed pitcher Steve Carlton won his 27th game as the Phillies beat the Cubs 11-1 to Wrigley. He had almost half the Phillies' 59 season wins. On this day, 1974, Jerry West retired after 14 seasons with the Lakers.
The logo.
He ended with 25,192 career points, averaged 29.1 points per game in 153 playoff games.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah. On this day, 1989, the Oakland Raiders promoted 42-year-old Art Shell as the first African-American to be an NFL head coach in modern times. Took over from Mike Shanahan.
I remember Art Shell.
That was his first stint as a Raiders coach. He had two.
Yeah, I remember his second stint.
On this day, 1990, Kansas City Royals third baseman George Brett became the first MLBer in the history to win a batting title in 3 different decades.
Wow.
He also won batting titles in 76 and 1980. Let's say 1995, O.J. Simpson was found not guilty of the murder
did not fit.
Nicole Simpson and Ron Goldman. On this day, 1999, Mark McGwire hit his 65th homer of the season in a rain-short 9-5 win over the Cubs at Busch Stadium. Wins second home run title over Sammy Sosa, who hit his 63rd home run in the same game.
Sosa had 4 straight 60 homer seasons.
Not too bad.
It's pretty good run.
On this day, 2001, San Diego Padre outfielder Ricky Henderson scored a run in the third inning of the Padres' 12-5 loss to the LA Dodgers to tie the MLB record of 2,245 runs scored, held by the legendary Ty Cobb.
He was fast.
On this day in 2001, also, Barry Bonds walked for the 171st time, breaking Babe Ruth's 1923 MLB single-season record for walks.
Barry Bonds was by far the most feared hitter ever.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone will ever be feared like that.
I have to say this because I said it earlier. On this day in 2008, O.J. Simpson was found guilty on charges of kidnapping and armed robbery.
He got his prison sentence he deserved the first time around.
He did.
Just a little shorter than it should have been.
And on this day in last year, Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady became the NFL's all-time leader in career passing yardage in a 1917 win against the Patriots at Gillette Stadium. Brady went 22 for 43 for 269 yards to pass Drew Brees' high of 80,358 yards.
Tell you what, he's not looking that great this year.
He is not having fun.
It does not look like it, does
He's
it?
not having fun, and it doesn't bother me at all.
Nope.
Even though I wish they would have won last night, but that's past the point. But the On This Day segment is brought to you by, like it is every week, Mooney Woodcrafts. Mooney Woodcrafts is a veteran-owned and operated custom woodcraft shop based out of North Carolina with Indiana grassroots. They provide 100% hand-cut custom designs that fit your needs, from signs to growth charts. Saw him making some growth charts last night on his Instagram story. Their custom pieces make a great addition to any home, office, or man cave. To see some of their recently completed projects, visit them on Instagram or Facebook at Mooney Woodcrafts. And for custom orders, contact them at mooneywoodcrafts@gmail.com.
College or NFL?
You pick. I don't care.
Let's talk some college hoops. I'm excited for college hoops, but
we are about a month away from exhibition games.
It's not that time yet. College football. Interesting week once again in the Big Ten.
Fun weekend around the country, and an interesting week in the Big Ten. We had some good games and some just absolute blowouts around the Big Ten. My Boilers, I pick against them finally, and they go on the road and get it done. 20-10.
You need to continue doing that.
I just might. 20-10 win at number 21 Minnesota now. And if you didn't watch the broadcast, you might not know, but Mo Ibrahim was out for Minnesota. They mentioned it every 3 minutes.
I was going to say, I literally watched that game for 10 seconds, and they mentioned it during that 10 seconds.
Yes. Former Denver Bronco quarterback Brock Osweiler was one of the commentators.
Really?
I did not know it was him until halftime when they showed the commentators. I could not tell by his voice. But so that was interesting.
Former Dolphins legend, you should say.
Dolphins legend, too. And not so much Texans or Browns. I don't think he played a game on the Browns. He was out. I guess he practiced a little bit last week, but the trainers didn't feel like he should give it a go. And so P.J. Fleck didn't play him. But they still had Potts, their running back. He's torched Purdue in the past. Tanner Morgan has best career game ever against Purdue back in 2019. He was 4-0 against Purdue coming into this weekend. And Purdue's defense just played pretty good. Of course, some mistakes were made by Minnesota. They kind of shot themselves in the foot a couple times, and Purdue didn't play that great of an offensive game. Aiden O'Connell gave it a go, but you could tell he wasn't 100%. He's probably about 70-75% is my guess. His ball did not have the amount of zip it usually does, and he just seemed to be missing some reads that he usually would make. But he got it done when they needed to in the fourth quarter. And then Purdue's running game seals it at the end. Who would have thought that? Purdue ran easily for over 100 yards as a team. They don't do that very often. A walk-on freshman Devin Mockabee clinched it with a 63-yard run late. And then Cam Allen had a second interception of the day, which led him to be in the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. He's now got 10 for his career. So good win for the Boilers. But like I kind of said last Monday, even though I picked Minnesota, I said if Aiden O'Connell plays, it wouldn't shock me for Purdue to win this game because that's just what Jeff Brom's teams do.
I think I even said it was a coin flip to me because I think Purdue's good enough to go in and beat a team like that. Minnesota just coming off whooping Michigan State, but obviously Michigan State's terrible.
Right.
So clearly didn't learn a whole lot from Minnesota. But of course, Ibrahim being out hurts, but it seems like they had 3 running backs last year step up when he was out then.
Right.
Including that Potts.
And every team can, and they're without Chris Autumn-Bell, but he's out for the year. And every team can,
Sure.
Purdue's been without their starting running back for 3 weeks in a row. Their best defensive player has been out since Penn State. So every college football team's going through it, but it does stink when it's your best wide receiver and best running back. Then you're without some weapons. But it was nice for Jeff Brom to finally get the monkey off his back a little bit and beat P.J. Fleck and Purdue to beat Minnesota. They hadn't won at Minnesota since 2007.
Wow.
They'd never won in this stadium since it's been built in 2009.
Wow.
So it's nice just to kind of finally get one. And the Big Ten West is up for grabs right now, man.
Oh,
It is
man.
a crazy house right now.
6 teams tied at 1-1. One team's 0-2, and they fired their coach, and it's shockingly not Northwestern. It's Wisconsin being 0-2. Firing Paul Chryst, that's an interesting move. I know they've been kind of sluggish the past few years, but man, they consistently won 9 games. It's kind of the Bo Pelini effect.
Just be careful what you wish for there.
Yes.
I think it's more of maybe there's more to it, but I honestly think it just comes out to they thought Jim Leonard was going to jump at his first chance in the offseason. They didn't want to lose him. They want to see how he can do.
That's exactly it.
And he is a hot commodity, but look what his defenses have been doing lately.
Not
Getting
great.
Torched.
Yeah.
Getting torched by Ohio State and Illinois. It was a great running attack. But we'll see how he can do, head coach. I mean, it might benefit him this year, but it might go sideways. It'll be interesting.
They're giving him a 7 or depending on if they make a bowl 8 game kind of audition. I know Leonard's been mentioned as a hot candidate in the past for a lot of different schools. So I know Paul Chryst is kind of a boring guy, and his teams kind of took on the personality of him. So maybe they just needed some sort of boost. Ben Brust, former Wisconsin basketball player, just torched Paul Chryst before the game even happened on Saturday. And so obviously he might have a little bit of influence there to get him canned. But Illinois didn't just go into Wisconsin to beat them. They went in and dominated them, outscored them 20-0 in the second half. You look at Wisconsin, for years they've ran the ball so well. Even this year, they had 221 yards rushing against Illinois State, 174 yards rushing against Washington State, 260 against New Mexico State, 192 against Ohio State. And Illinois held them to 2 yards rushing. Illinois' defense is now not only the best in the Big Ten, they're arguably one of the best in the country. Number 1 scoring defense in the entire country. Number 1 pass efficiency defense. Number 3 in total defense. Number 3 in rush defense. Number 12 in interceptions. Number 15 in sacks. For years under the Lovie Smith and Tim Beckman, they'd routinely give up. I will never forget the game against Iowa where that was kind of the turning point. Like, I don't think Lovie's working out when they lost 63-0 to an Iowa team that honestly wasn't that good. So it's nice to see Illinois' defense keep them in games now and play obviously really well. But yeah, Chase Brown, 125 yards rushing against a good Wisconsin defense. Tommy DeVito is the best quarterback they've had since at least Nathan Shieldhouse. Taking care of the ball, very efficient too, and they have a good rushing or a good wide receiving core as well. So I've said all year that I think Illinois is halfway decent, and this isn't maybe enough to get me to jump fully on the bandwagon.
I can hear in your voice. I think you're back. I think you're back.
I'm holding out hope they're decent, but it could all go to the wayside if they lose to a mediocre Iowa team at home, which hopefully Illinois, instead of their usual 37,000 to show up, hopefully it's pretty close to a sellout. Under the lights, fan interest is higher than it's been in a long time. Bielema has done that. Their defensive coordinator is actually one of the top candidates for the Colorado head coaching job.
I'd stay away from that job.
Yeah, I'd stay away from it too, especially since they might not have a conference here in 2 years. But if they have Iowa at home and then Minnesota at home, they could realistically be 6-1 playing Nebraska. They could be 7-1 playing. Then they have Nebraska playing.
They would like that Indiana game back.
Yeah, they should have won that Indiana game. They choked that thing away. They'd probably be ranked right now.
Oh, they'd definitely be ranked. I was kind of surprised they weren't. I thought they might crawl in the 25th spot this week, but
their schedule's been kind of weak up to that point. But that was a statement game in my opinion. I mean, Wisconsin's not the Wisconsin of old, but it's still on the road at Wisconsin. So
yeah, that's if Purdue can beat Wisconsin this year, I'll be doing backflips. Get that monkey off their back.
If Illinois can continue playing well, I might fully jump back on the bandwagon.
So we saw Michigan beat Iowa. We saw Ohio State thrash Rutgers, even though there was some chippiness to that game. Penn State beat Northwestern in a rain-soaked, ugly game. I feel bad for anybody who had to watch that or go to it. Nebraska took care of Indiana under the lights, giving Joseph his first win as interim head coach. And Maryland took care of Michigan State, which Michigan State's 3 consecutive losses. You look at their next 4 games, they might not get one.
Yeah, Michigan State fans are already turning on their savior, Mel Tucker, who who was God on earth.
Tuck's coming. That's all you heard on Twitter all offseason. Tuck's coming. He's coming to 3 losses. That's what he's coming to.
Yeah. And honestly, losing Kenneth Walker couldn't have been that big of. I mean, it was a big loss, but he's not the reason why they're losing all these games. Their defense looks terrible too. But I think Maryland's pretty good actually.
They're speedy. They're very quick. So
yeah.
You
want to pick some games?
And around the country. We saw Bryce Young get hurt, but I don't know if you watched any of that game. I watched it a little bit. I can't remember the kid's name, Milrow or
something like that. Yeah,
he's built almost like Derrick Henry, and he's a quarterback,
and he fast.
Flies.
Yeah,
I just watched him. I'm like, this is just not fair.
Yeah, he had a 70-something yard touchdown run.
Yeah,
I believe
when Arkansas was within 4, Bama was up 28-0. Arkansas scores 24 unanswered, including the onside kick, gets right back in it, and then he breaks off that big run, and it flipped the whole game. We saw Clemson get a big win over NC State. Wake Forest win to Florida State and prove they are for real.
I think Georgia is proving that they're not nearly as good as last year.
They were lucky to win that.
Very lucky to win at Missouri.
Texas A&M got smacked around by Mississippi State. Now they go to Bama this week. Jimbo could be in big trouble.
Yeah, their quarterback position's terrible.
USC and UCLA both undefeated. That's good for the Big Ten. Oklahoma's garbage.
They're not very good.
TCU wide receivers are still running wide open right now. So that's going to be an interesting matchup with Texas this week in a Red River rivalry, which Quentin Ears, I believe, is going to try to come back this week. Kansas, what a story. They got game day this week against TCU, which is good.
Ranked,
or maybe it's
ranked
for
TCU.
I don't know
first time
where
since
it is, but
2009.
Yeah, Lance Leipold said he loves it there, but somebody's going to throw him a lot of money. There's a lot of jobs already open. Yeah,
or Nebraska.
Wisconsin. I saw he's third in the betting odds to be Wisconsin's next head coach. Leonard's 1, Bill O'Brien's 2.
Yeah, Leipold won a ton of titles at, I believe, Wisconsin Whitewater, so he's obviously very familiar.
Yep. So, yeah, another crazy fun weekend of college football. And it looks like it's going to be another good one on paper this weekend.
Yep. Nebraska at Rutgers.
A little Friday night Big Ten football action. This is actually the game. Barstool does their version of a game day. This is the game they're going to. They pick them before the season. And they go to states that have sports betting so they can push their sports book. And I'm guessing this was just a short drive down from New York. That's why they probably did this one. But give me the Cornhuskers for 4.
I have Nebraska for 1. I think they'll beat them, but I mean, Rutgers needs one, and they're pretty desperate right now. But I just don't think they're very good.
And we tied. We tied in the Big Ten.
Yes. Yeah, we did. Michigan at Indiana.
Michigan for 6.
That's the Fox Noon Fox Noon game.
Big noon game. Yep.
Big noon. Yeah. Yep. I also have Michigan for 6.
I mean, I think Indiana might be able to keep it close for a little bit, but Michigan's too talented.
Michigan 22-point favorites on the road. Purdue at Maryland.
This game scares me. Purdue's only been to Maryland once, and it was honestly the worst Purdue football game.
It was a Darrell Hazel game, wasn't it?
It was like 50-7, I believe. And I remember after that, Dad's like, he's got to go. And I think the very next week was Iowa. Iowa beat him, and then he got canned. It was the worst Purdue football game I have ever seen. Purdue's 4-point dogs in this game. I'm going with my heart, though. I think they're going to have Jalen Graham back, which is big news for their defense. I'm going Purdue, but only for 2. This game does scare me.
I have Purdue for 2 as well. Coin flip game, though.
It is. It is. There's, like I said, Maryland's speed. Jarrett is a problem. He scares me.
Yeah. They need a fully healthy O'Connell, too.
It shouldn't be a rockless environment, so.
No, it won't be. But
still.
Maryland can put up some points.
They can.
Wisconsin at Northwestern.
New coach for Wisconsin, but I just think Northwestern stinks. Give me the Badgers for 3.
I have Wisconsin for 4. Ohio State at Michigan State.
Buckeyes for 5.
I have Ohio State for 5 as well. Iowa at Illinois.
This is a first I think I've ever done. I went all road teams. I'm going Hawkeyes for 1.
You think Iowa gets it done, huh?
The only reason I think Illinois is better. I just don't know, still a new new program, Bielema must put into culture.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they read their press clippings too much this week.
Absolutely.
Iowa's got a good defense. They can't score, but they got a good defense. That's the only reason I'm trying to do something bold, because I figured you're going to Illini, so I had to do something different here to try to win the week. So.
First 1 to 10 wins, I think. Illinois favored against Iowa for the first time, maybe in my entire life.
Big game for your family.
Yeah, honestly, my family couldn't care less.
But your uncle, I should say.
But my uncle, my uncle thinks Iowa doesn't have a shot. I don't think Iowa's going to be able to score enough. I think they might score 10 points total. Mm-hmm. Give me Illinois for 3. Elsewhere, top 25, we have number 8 Tennessee at number 25 LSU. Brian
Kelly gets it done.
Think so? At home, huh?
Tennessee had the bye week, so maybe they cooled off a little bit. They got Bama next week. I think for some reason they're going to look ahead. I think Brian Kelly gets it done, and he's 1 point away from having a really good season already at LSU.
Tennessee, 2.5-point favorites. Give me the road team. Tennessee hasn't been in the top 10 in a while either, so maybe they read the press clippings a little bit and kind of.
I don't like them.
I don't like them either. Number 17 TCU at number 19 Kansas.
This is gonna be a fun one. I think the Horned Frogs go in and get this done. I watched the end of that Kansas Iowa State game. Matt Campbell, for a good coach, he had a big old coaching blunder in that game and kind of cost Iowa State.
I don't think he is that good of a coach, to be honest.
I think Sonny Dykes doing a really good job at TCU. I mean, this could be a fun one. Like I said, I'm gonna tune into this one, but give me the Horned Frogs.
TCU for 7, or TCU 7-point favorites. Sorry, give me TCU on the road. I don't buy Kansas, even though they've been okay.
Great story, but
number 11 Utah at number 18 UCLA.
Got to go with the Utes. They threw off my playoff prediction week 1, but they're getting hot. I got to go with the Utes.
They're 4.5-point favorites. Nobody shows up to UCLA games in the Rose Bowl.
Nobody.
Give me Utah. It's embarrassing. Give me Utah. Number 16 BYU against Notre Dame in Vegas.
And Notre Dame's favorite. I was a little surprised by that.
3.5-point favorite.
I was a little surprised. Notre Dame coming off a bye week. This is not a game I had Notre Dame losing before the season, but I have them going 8-4. I think BYU gets it done.
Give me Notre Dame, just to be different.
Coin flip, in my opinion. So
it really is. I'm surprised Notre Dame's favored, but yeah. Unranked Florida State 4-1, traveling to NC State to take on the 14th ranked Wolfpack.
Yeah, I thought Florida State was going to get it done against Wake. I was wrong. Wolfpack lost at Clemson. Mm-hmm. I think they bounced back. Give me NC State.
NC State only 3.5-point favorites at home. Give me the home team though. And I think that is going to do it for, yeah.
Yeah, because Georgia's going to smack whoever they play, I would think, at home. Auburn. And Bama's going to smack A&M. So,
yep.
Remember when that was all hyped up after the media days? Jimbo and Saban over before the media days. Now nobody cares about it come October 8th.
I saw a stat. Nick Saban has never lost to an Auburn team. Who plays Auburn? Georgia plays Auburn. But I saw the stat anyway. Nick Saban has never lost to an Auburn team that has lost less than 9 games, but he's never beaten an Auburn team that's won more than 9 games. He's 0-8 against Auburn when they win 9 or more games.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I think anything else college football wise?
I don't think so.
Moving on to the NFL with 3 winners, 3 losers.
One of my winners, the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, they're not playing bad.
They won a shootout over Detroit. They're 2-2, and Geno Smith was balling yesterday. I give the guy credits. I whiffed on that one big time. I had Detroit as 12-point confidence last week, and that hurt me big time.
Yeah, I had Detroit winning as well, but it was for lesser, and I ended up winning.
I got the victory 1 week. One week, and it bit me.
I'm sure you've seen the stats between Geno and Russell Wilson.
Yes, I have.
People are talking about a lot.
Yes, I have.
That's a good winner. One of my winners, Kansas City Chiefs, after a stinker against the Indianapolis Colts last Sunday, they bounced back in a big way, putting up 41 points. Yep, putting up 41 points at Tampa Bay. Looked like the offense of old, unfortunately for you.
Fun stuff.
Yeah.
Another winner, New York Jets. I could easily put the Steelers in my loser column, but I didn't.
Steelers are in my loser column.
Okay, that's because really Pickett threw a ball he shouldn't have thrown towards the end of the game and kind of really hurt them. I'm not going to say it cost them, but Jets were down big, down 13, came back and fought and won. And they're 2-2. I thought Zach Wilson played really good in the fourth quarter, and now they're getting the Dolphins coming into town without Tua. Jets can make a little noise.
They won't, but they could. Zach Wilson was terrible up until that fourth quarter, and then some. He got hot, so good for him. One of my winners, Tennessee Titans. Week after beating the Vegas Raiders, they go on the road to the Indianapolis Colts. That's a classic Colts loss.
Oh, we saw it coming.
Big win. Could see it coming. The Colts are actually one of my losers as well, so I'll knock them out. But Matt Ryan's fumbled 9 times already this year. 9 times.
They keep digging themselves in these holes. And then they climb out of it, but then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, they're lucky they play in the division they do.
Mm-hmm. My last winner, the Minnesota Vikings, over in London. Good game against the Saints. Double doink from 61 out by Will Lutz after he just hit a 60-yarder. That was such an entertaining game to get the Sunday going. I loved it. Say what you want about the NFL playing games overseas in London. Those fans love it. They get into it. So it's pretty fun. Just when I'm thinking, I don't know what to think about this Viking team. Now they're 3-1, and they host the Bears this week. So that was a pretty good start.
My last winner, the Vegas Raiders.
I will never put them in my winner. They could go 17-0, and I'm not putting them in my. Josh McDaniels is the most punchable face in the NFL still.
I tell you what, McDaniels needed that in the worst way. I could have had 8 losers and like 2 winners, but I had to find a third winner, and this was one of them. Well,
he can send a Christmas card to Melvin Gordon. So
yeah, that was a bad fumble by old Melvin.
Knew it was coming. And I feel really bad for the guy, and he's going to have to be their guy going forward with Javonte Williams out for the season with the torn ACL. But the dude's fumbled 4 times in 4 games. I think he's fumbled 12 times in his Denver career in 3 years, and 3 of them have been returned for touchdowns. I mean, Denver was going in to probably score, take a 7-point lead before half and get the ball after half, and it flipped the whole game big time. You just can't have that. I mean, I feel for the guy, but he's great in pass pro. But if you can't hold on to the ball, you can't play him. I'm sorry. Play Mike Boone over him.
3 losers. I had the Colts and I had the Steelers as well.
I had the Broncos, but mostly because of Melvin Gordon. So I've already just said that, but they're one of them. One of my other losers, Baltimore Ravens.
Me too. They're my last loser.
They've lost 5 straight home games.
Yeah.
And they were up big time. What, 20 points or so? 21 over the Bills? And you just
17 over the Bills.
17. It was a nasty weather game, but you just fell apart and choked. Yeah.
Yeah. Ravens blew a 21-point fourth quarter lead to the Dolphins, 17-point halftime lead to the Bills. John Harbaugh decides to go for it on 4th and goal instead of kicking a field goal, and it's picked off, which was the worst case scenario, because then it's touchback and they get it at the 20 instead of the 2. So that backfired. Just a bad loss. Had a chance to beat a really good team and couldn't do it.
Yep. My last loser, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just don't look like the team I thought they were going to be. They're my Super Bowl runner-up, and they no. Now yours, I had the Packers being Super Bowl runner-up to the Bills. You have the Buccaneers. Maybe they'll get there, but right now they're not looking like the same team they have the last 2 years.
Yeah, I beat you in Pick'em again, as I said. But starting Thursday night, you get your game out of the way early. Indianapolis Colts at the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, not looking forward to this one. Broncos are without Javonte Williams out for the season. Randy Gregory, been one of the better defensive players, out 3 to 6 weeks with arthroscopic knee surgery. Russell Wilson banged up. Announced today they think he's going to play, but he's banged up. But the Colts, no Leonard. Leonard's out for this game with a concussion. So is one of their other defensive players. And Jonathan Taylor's questionable with an ankle sprain. So both teams hobbling in literally to this game. I think Denver's the better team. Denver's 2-0 at home. Give me the Broncos, but only for 5 points.
Coin flip game, in my opinion. But I'm taking the home team for 2. Denver Broncos for 2. New York Giants against the Green Bay Packers in England. Did you know this is the first time ever that a London game has involved 2 teams over 500?
That's incredible.
They've been playing in London since 2007.
In London?
In London?
That's just crazy.
First one ever.
Green Bay was not overly impressive in their win against New England yesterday.
Against third-string quarterback.
Giants weren't good on Monday night. I'm going with the Packers for 9.
Daniel Jones is banged up with an ankle issue to the point where Saquon Barkley was running the Wildcat a lot.
Yeah,
in the
over
fourth
Tyrod
quarter
playing quarterback.
because Tyrod had a concussion, knocked him out of the game. Give me Packers for 9 as well.
Yeah, see, I forgot the Giants even played yesterday against the Bears. That's how forgettable it was.
That was a forgettable game. Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, Kenny Pickett's good move, right move. Tough first road test at Buffalo. Give me the Bills for 15.
I have the Bills for 16. LA Chargers at the Cleveland Browns.
I got to find it here. Well, it's way down on my list. Chargers for 12.
I only have the Chargers for 3. The Chargers have a real difficult time playing at noon on the East Coast.
That's a good point.
So that's why I'm doing it. Cleveland coming off a terrible loss at Atlanta yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think Cleveland hangs in there. I mean, Chargers didn't look overly impressive against Houston. I mean, Houston.
No, they didn't. They got up big.
They got
up big and let them come back. But I think their defense can get the Jacoby Brissett.
It should be able to. Myles Garrett, I imagine, will be back for the Browns. Chargers for 3, though. Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings.
I got the Vikings for 8. The Bears are boring.
I have the Vikings for 15. Justin Fields is the worst starting quarterback in the NFL. I'm sorry, Bears fans. He has the lowest or the fewest pass yards from a starting quarterback through 4 games since the 60s.
Not good.
Still 2022. His completion percentage right around 50%. It's clear he's not the answer going forward. Might as well play out the year with him and search for somebody better.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit Lions at the New England Patriots. Dan Campbell's got to be feeling the heat.
Yeah, Detroit's kind of must-watch TV because you know their games are going to be entertaining.
Yeah.
Give me the Patriots for 10.
I have New England for 10 as well. I assume Mac Jones will be back for them.
I don't think it matters who they play. I think they'll beat Detroit.
Probably doesn't matter. Seattle Seahawks at the New Orleans Saints.
Yeah, I'm riding on the Seahawks now. Give me Seahawks for 3.
I don't know if Jameis will be back or not for New Orleans. I assume he is, and I'm picking New Orleans for 4. I don't know why I continue to pick New Orleans, but I continue to.
We finally disagreed. So
yeah, Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets.
I had the Dolphins till I read officially Tua was out, which I figured he was going to be.
Oh, yeah, he was going to be out.
I'm taking the Jets for 1. 1.
I think Teddy's terrible, but I think Dolphins are good enough. They need to get some sort of running game. Tua, that was one of the scarier injuries I've seen. When his hands went up like that, you knew it was something pretty severe. Sounds like he's doing pretty well. Might even play against Minnesota the next week. I'm hoping he's back in 2 weeks so I can watch him play on Sunday night in Miami.
Oh yeah.
But Dolphins defense should be good enough. Give me the Dolphins for 5. Atlanta Falcons at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tampa Bay for 13. They're going to be mad. Yeah. Atlanta's coming off a good win for them over Cleveland, but if Buccaneers watch this one or lose this one, hit the panic button.
Bucks for 14. Tennessee at Washington.
Titans for 4. I think Titans are a lot better, but this would not shock me if Washington gets this win, even though I don't think they're very good.
I agree. Completely agree. Tennessee for 6. Houston at Jacksonville.
Jaguars for 14. Don't screw it up, Jaguars.
Trevor Lawrence lost 4 fumbles yesterday. It's the NFL record. But yeah, give me Jacksonville for 11. Houston's the worst team in the NFL.
That was a rainy, nasty game.
So. It was. San Francisco at Carolina.
San Francisco for 7, even though I hate picking teams I haven't seen play the Monday night game yet.
Give me San Francisco for 1. I don't think San Francisco is very good.
I don't think Carolina's good.
Carolina's bad too. Dallas at LA Rams.
Rams for 11. Even though Dak could be back.
Yeah. I have the Rams for 8. I don't think it matters. Philadelphia at Arizona.
Bird team's going to win this one. I got the Eagles for 6.
I have the Eagles for 7. Cincinnati at Baltimore.
I think Baltimore makes it 6 straight home L's. Give me the Cincinnati Bengals for 2.
I have the Ravens for 12. So that
all right, there's a difference right there.
Yeah, that could flip things around. Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Chiefs for 16. I think this Raider team stinks. I'm still infuriated. I don't remember the last time I've been this mad after an NFL loss. I'm still steaming about it. And I think Kansas City, after last week, just got to keep clicking for a while. They're not losing at home.
Yeah, give me the Chiefs for 13. I agree wholeheartedly. This episode is brought to you by The Damn Landing. Whether an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-bread, tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, Damn Landing is a place to be lit. Damn Landing's Bar and Grill, located on beautiful Lake Manitou, focusing on freshness and quality. You can wash down their delicious food with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews or domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Taking the fantastic views of Lake Manitou in their beer garden or outdoor bar area, whether it be boat or wheels, The Damn Landing is a place to be located 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester. Hit me with that birdie bogey.
Since 1955, when they first began awarding an MVP award, there have been 3 players in MLB history to be named the MVP of a World Series twice. Can you name all 3?
3 players to be named MVP of the World Series twice. I don't even have a guess. I'm trying to think of teams that have won a bunch. Yankees won a bunch. Cardinals won a few, but I know David Freese won one year. But Red Sox maybe. Guy for the Red Sox won it twice. David Ortiz.
No.
Giants. Madison Bumgarner.
Good guess, but no.
Son of a gun! Just give me a bogey.
You're back to a 2-stroke lead, but still a pretty good lead. Reggie Jackson?
Nah, Mr. October. I should have known that one.
Bob Gibson?
Nah.
And Sandy Koufax.
All played in the 60s and 70s. I was way off.
It's a tough one. But I knew your baseball knowledge, you're pretty good, so I thought you might be able to get a par out of it.
I should have thought of Reggie Jackson. Bob Gibson, I would have had no shot in the 60s. Wouldn't even think of him. Koufax is obviously really good, but I didn't even think about the Dodgers.
I wouldn't have thought of any of them. So
disappointing.
I'm sure a tough one's coming my way next week, and that's fair game. So.
Yep. Women's cricket coming on up for you.
Oh boy, I better start studying.
Thanks for watching the Tan and J-Man Show live on the ISC Sports Network. Hope you have a fantastic week, everybody, and we'll be back at it next Monday.